About a week and a half ago, I was on the deck eating breakfast, totally blissed out in samsara, and I heard this. It was so sweet. You don't need to frown. It was very sweet. And I kept thinking, I knew it was a bird, obviously. So I was looking for the bird, and then finally I saw the bird up in this big tree over here. And it was this huge raven. And I thought for sure this huge raven, with making those sounds that were much sweeter, just so cuddly and so warm. And I thought this bird must be feeding its young. So I kept looking at it, and it was actually bobbing on this branch. There was a slight breeze. And after a few minutes of looking, and I saw that Venerable Losang was sitting further away from me, and I tried to get his attention, but he was intent on blissed out with whatever he's eating. There was no young there. There was this adult raven just hanging out on the branch, blissed out like me in samsara, having a lovely time riding the branch. And so then I thought, oh, why don't I have a video camera? National Geographic would love this. And then we could have raucous raven getting introduced to Buddha bear. And between the two of them, then they could really, Buddha bear could teach raucous raven all about compassion and, the non-virtues of eating things and cats and dogs and other things, and even have compassion for boring banana. This could be a syndicated children's show, and we could sell the copyright of this to Disney, and we could take the funds and fund the Buddha Hall. And so my mind was just going in this direction for a long, long time. And then suddenly reality hit. It does this every now and then. Unfortunately, it is far too seldom. And I realized that what I was looking at was a horror story. So that could very well have been a mother from a previous life, probably was, or a husband or a wife, or a former child, a best friend. It was somebody that I knew from a previous life, caught, trapped in that raven body. In the raven body, how long will it be trapped in that kind of existence? And so Venerable Children has really recommended that we delve into looking at the different realms and studying seriously, doing some research about the different realms. So here's a realm we can see right in front of us. And, often we're just so captivated by how beautiful animals in nature are because we get transfixed and hypnotized by samsara. So here's some things about ravens that actually is heartbreaking to learn. Absolutely heartbreaking. They're one of the smartest birds on the planet. They have a very high IQ. So their lifespan in the wild is about 10 to 15 years, and in captivity it can be up to 50 years. Or there was one that was recorded to be 69 years old. They can do mimicking of sounds very much like parrots can. What else? By 4 months old, they've found that ravens have full-blown cognitive skills. Now, I don't really know what that means, but they have the maturity that rivals adult great apes and orangutans. They can problem solve. They are very creative. They have an IQ, apparently, I don't know how they figure this out, but they have an IQ similar to children about 7 years of age. And then because they've been studied so much and they've been around for, endless time almost, they've found that ravens have the capacity with their intelligence to hold grudges. So they can remember who has tagged them. And so when the person approaches them to tag them a second time, they remember their face and they become very aggressive. And then they let their friends know by making these certain sounds. They have a vast vocabulary of sounds. They let other ravens know that there's danger, and they fly away when people come and try and tag them. And it says they can also remember the good times. So something to the fact that they are clearly aware of who is feeding them snacks, and they really appreciate that, and they go to them more easily than people who don't. And they're also very clear about who sort of cheaps them out on snacks, and they stay away from those people, and they show aggressive behavior again. They know how to play. So they've been photographed and filmed sliding down snowy slopes, just sliding down. And if they find some plastic piece or cardboard piece of cardboard, they slide down on that. So I'm very glad, that part is kind of endearing, because at least they do have some pleasant sensations ripening in their experience in life. But, most of the time, they're engaging in a lot of non-virtue. They're able to live so long because they don't have many predators. So humans are their worst enemy, of course. And then naturally, of course, now what we're doing to the climate with pollution and everything, they're even finding that they're sensitive to environmental changes, and they're getting stressed out. And they've noticed that there's the hormone cortisone, corticosterone, is that right? Corticosterone? That's activated in their body as a result of the stress of the climate that they're experiencing, with pollution and storms and everything. So it's also very fortunate. So back to the disadvantages of being very smart, caught in this bird body. They have to kill. They do scavenge most of the time, but if they see one of our kitties outside or a small dog, they'll pick those up and take them away. So they do have the capacity for ill will, for malice, for killing. They hold grudges, so that's more, negative behavior. Fortunately for us, they can't go out and buy an AR-15 and use that. And they can get intoxicated by eating fermented berries, but fortunately they can't get behind a wheel of a vehicle and then drive. That's a good thing too. It is suspected that they mate for life, so they're not engaging in unwise and unkind sexual behavior. So there's some good things happening for these creatures. But essentially, how in the world are you going to get out of this kind of rebirth? I guess just when the karma for that runs out, it runs out. And hopefully, because they are capable of taking care of their young and, being friendly towards certain human beings, they're creating some kind of good karma. So that's just a raven, for heaven's sake. So let's look around at the other creatures that are in the animal realm. The animal realm seems to me to be far more vast than any of the other realms. I mean, look at the insects. How is it going to be a mosquito, or any kind of insect that you get fumigated? Or even the things that are living at the bottom of the ocean. There's so much life that is living at the bottom of the ocean, where it's dark, there's no sunlight, there's no oxygen, in fact, and there's living creatures that are sentient that can live there. So aside from that statue that one of the teachers dropped in the Antarctica, I can remember reading about it in the FPMT magazine. Do you remember Venerable Kadru? Kirti Sensab Rinpoche. He went to the Antarctica and they dropped a Buddhist statue into the Antarctic Ocean. So I guess if you're in that part of the world, you might pick up some positive karma. The ravens that are flying around here, they're flying over top of buildings that have holy objects. That's good for them. But really, when you're having a rough day and someone says something that you don't like, or they look at you in a way you don't like, just reflect on the fact that we have a precious human rebirth. For heaven's sake, let's be real. And rejoice that we have this precious opportunity, and to have compassion for everyone who is not in this situation that we have right now.